Of nature. Oh, are these eternal? Were you here yesterday when I was talking with Strong Atheist again? And he kept on trying to advance that the first law of thermodynamics means that matter, energy, and laws of nature are eternal. Were you here
Yeah,
for
you
that?
were talking to him in my room. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You'll have to forgive me. There's been a lot going on in the past couple of days for me.
No problem.
Yeah, well, it was your room. See, I had a Joe Biden moment. And you see, I meticulously went through it with him multiple times, and after going through it 5 times, he still was recalcitrant. He still was in denial. Okay?
Yeah, I
Saying
know.
it can't be
Absolutely.
created or destroyed is not a stipulation of eternality. Okay? I explained to him how the first law and second thermodynamics is based upon an extrapolation from induction. No, see, he's just another example that he's going to be dishonest. Okay? I said, show me one website, show me one scientific textbook, and just any scientist.
I remember that he couldn't do it.
Show me one scientist, show me one source anywhere that says that the first law of thermodynamics is indicative that these things are eternal. No, the first law of thermodynamics is system specific. Okay? They talk about a system. Okay?
Hello, guys. How are we doing today?
Hello. Okay. So do you still believe there is no God?
Currently, yes.
Okay. God does not exist because
The question is misformed.
really? Are we gonna play this stupidity again?
Well, I did come up here to talk about the title, so if
How
you will,
how how is the question misformed?
it assumes that a God must exist.
No, 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 no. Your position is that God does not exist.
That's my belief state, yeah.
Right. And what is the rationale behind that belief?
Personal experience.
Okay, that's a non-informative answer. See,
The
this is
rationale.
yeah. Tell me personal experience. Okay, if you said to me, do you believe in God? Yes. What's the rationale behind it? How is it that God exists? Well, personal experience. Is that informative to you?
No, but it tells me you have some reasoning we could get into.
Then neither is your answer.
I did say yes.
Okay, so God does not exist because.
Well, again, the question assumes God's existence, but I don't believe
Okay,
he exists
sir,
because I
sir,
haven't seen
sir,
evidence.
sir, sir. I'm simply asking you for a rationale of your position. Tom, remember what I just said to you minutes ago? How the
Yeah.
atheists and unbelievers will resort to deception and deceit and dishonesty in varying degrees. Okay, you're seeing it on full
Do,
display here.
do you
Okay,
realize, Stephen, no serious philosopher will take how you're answering this question seriously? He asks
okay.
you a legitimate question. If you have a belief, either you have a rationale for it or you don't. He didn't ask an illegitimate question. You know damn
I
well he
didn't say
didn't
it was
ask it.
illegitimate
No, you said his question was malformed.
because it
There's
assumes an
nothing
answer from
malformed.
you.
No, not
And
dude.
and why is if I'm predicating on virtue of the God worldview, why is that a problem?
Well, it's not a problem, but asking someone who doesn't predicate based on that
Okay,
would
stop
be
right there.
a
Stop
problem.
right there. Stop right there. But you just said it was a malformed question.
Under my worldview, it
Did
is.
you
Under
not?
yours, it's not.
Okay, good. Then explain to me your worldview. Okay, am I not asking you to unpack and explain your worldview?
No, you are. I'm just being clear.
Good. Okay, God does not exist because.
Well, under my worldview, there's no evidence for him.
Okay, now, when you say there's no evidence for God, the word evidence refers that there is a causal relation between A and B. Okay, so the pistol on the kitchen floor either is or is not evidence for the dead body on the floor. Okay? Now, if you and I are homicide detectives and we come in, there's a dead body on the floor with a bullet hole and there's a pistol on the floor, and I come in and I say to you as my partner detective, I say, that gun is not evidence of the homicide. What are you going to say to me?
It could have been suicide. You've got a point.
I didn't ask you what it could have been. What would naturally a partner say? You both walk in at the same time. You walk in together. You see the dead body on the floor and you see the gun on the floor and you see there's a bullet hole in the head. Okay? And I turn to you and I say, that gun is not evidence of a homicide. Now,
You would be
isn't
technically correct.
okay. Now, really?
Yeah. He died by the gun,
Okay.
most likely,
No,
but just the gun and the
no, no,
bullet
no.
doesn't mean
Yeah,
that someone else killed him.
you're not getting it. When I say there's not evidence for it, I can mean that there is not ontologically a causal connection and a dependency relationship between the two states of affairs, or it could mean that we are in a state of ignorance as to whether or not there is causal relations between the gun. Okay, so when you say there's not evidence, okay, you're either talking about there is not any causal relationship ontologically, or you're just making a statement of saying, well, I have no knowledge of a relationship.
I would
So
probably
when
go
you,
with more of the second one on the God claim. Yeah.
so what you're saying is that when you conceptualize facts and invoke them, you are invoking them as standalone without respect to them necessitating deriving from God. Okay? Okay. Now, do you understand? And you probably don't, but you should by now, that is a de facto indirect denial of God
Yes.
when you
I
say that.
actually agree with you there. I've said my
Okay,
belief state is that God
good.
does not exist.
Now. So the point is this. So are you saying when there's no evidence for God that the sun, the moon, and the stars and bunny rabbits running across your front lawn do not and cannot stand in causal relations to God as the ultimate cause? Is that what you're saying?
But they do not at the moment in my belief state. Cannot
No,
would
no,
be a
no,
stronger
sir. I'm
term.
not talking. No, I'm talking about ontologically outside of your mind. Okay,
Well, I can't go
you're
outside my
changing
mind.
You're changing. Okay, so then you're not. So then you're saying God doesn't exist because I'm unaware.
My belief state is that he doesn't
Okay.
exist because I'm unaware of him.
No,
That does
look.
connect,
Okay,
yeah.
so God can only exist if and only if you had a belief in Him.
No, if I had a belief in him, I would
Okay,
believe he
boom.
existed.
You've now contradicted yourself. Okay, you just did a concrete facial, right? Just right there. Okay. Now you've now admitted that if you had an absence of belief or were in a state of ignorance about the existence of God, that it doesn't mean that God doesn't exist. So you've now contradicted yourself. Are you aware of that?
Well, I always said my belief state was that he doesn't exist. I never said he
Okay.
definitely doesn't exist.
Tom
I
Locke,
don't believe him.
Did you notice the complete evasion of my question?
Well, yeah, and not only
Sorry, I might
that,
have missed the
he's
question
going
there. I'm
from
sorry.
you're moving from the justification of your position to just saying that you have a mental state.
Yeah. You contradicted yourself, and I spelled it out clearly.
I must have missed it. Could you go through it again?
Wow, isn't that amazing, Tom Locke?
This is
Tom Locke,
incredible.
was I talking too fast, Tom Locke?
No, no.
Okay, okay. A supreme being, creator God, can only exist if and only and if you happen to have a positive belief that he does exist. Is that what you
No,
hold to?
no.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So I asked you, how is it that God does not exist? And you said, well, there's no evidence for God. But then when we unpack that, that statement is just simply a statement that you are absent a positive belief in God that facts stand in relation to God.
Well, you missed the first part of my answer,
So
but
so so
sure.
it doesn't follow, because you don't have a positive belief in God. It doesn't follow from that God doesn't exist.
No, but it does follow from my
Okay, good. Okay, good.
my
So
presupposition.
God ontologically does not exist because
Because there's no clear evidence for him within my worldview.
okay, so you're going to do this again, like a dog returns to its vomit and it says, "Wow, a hot lunch." You're going to do this again after we've already been through
Well,
this?
you haven't stepped into my worldview and shown me how God must
Is your
exist within my
statement?
worldview.
Listen.
You've only
No,
decided from your
timeline.
worldview.
You remember what I said to you earlier before
Yeah.
anyone got in the room of what pathological liars and deceivers they are? They will
Yeah,
resort
he's
to any
doing it.
okay. They will resort to any mental gymnastics in order to preserve and sustain their autonomy of reasoning at all costs, including being deceptive. Okay, so listen carefully. Okay, we're talking about the ontological status of God, not whether or not you have a positive attitude toward the proposition God exists.
I agree.
God ontologically does not exist because
Because within my worldview, there's no evidence for it.
you're not understanding. Okay, but you see, when you say there's no evidence, all you're just simply saying is that you're aware of.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are not saying, you correct me, you are not saying that all the facts you are aware of exist ontologically with metaphysical independence of God, that they do not ultimately derive and depend upon God for their existence. You're not saying that then, right?
There's been too many negatives there. I'm losing the thread.
Okay. Is it your position that any facts at all simply exist ultimately for some other reason other than ultimately deriving from God? Is that your position?
Yes.
Okay. How did you determine that?
Because the facts I'm acquainted with do not reference God.
Yeah, you're just restating the
Yeah,
same thing.
that doesn't tell us how you determine
That's simply a
it.
restatement
Wow.
of the same claim.
I mean, do you want me to go through where I think thoughts come from and how they relate to
Do you
reality?
understand? See, Tom, like, do you see? Did you hear what he's just doing here? Didn't I not tell you that they purposely will engage in mental gymnastics? Okay,
Yeah, he's doing verbal misdirection. He's not
when answering
answering.
truthfully, will show the bankruptcy of their position. Okay, now, how did you determine that facts exist without metaphysical necessity of ultimately deriving and depending upon God? How did you determine that?
Well, because I can demonstrate at least 1 to 2 facts that do not and cannot derive from God.
Well, we've been waiting for you to do it, and you haven't done so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
All right, reality exists and I exist within reality.
Okay, really. Okay, how old are you?
30.
Dude, that's an assertion,
Okay,
not a
this is the
demonstration.
kind of this is the listen.
Do you have
And for those of you
do you think reality doesn't
Tom
exist?
Rabbit fans out there, listen. For those of you Tom Rabbit fans out there who like to get on your keyboard and defecate on me in the comment section, sir, that was an incredibly stupid thing you just said. Okay, reality exists, okay, by itself, and then here's the issue. Okay, when you say reality exists by itself, okay, with independence from God, you're just
Not by
simply
itself, just that it does exist.
okay. Reality is an abstraction attempting to mentally unify the set of all real particulars. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you say that the set of all real things exist, okay, you're saying, well, they exist. How does the fact that they exist translate, okay, and justify that they exist without metaphysically and ultimately deriving from God? How does that follow?
Well, because God's nowhere in the equation of them existing.
You're simply restating the same claim without defending it. Do you realize what you're doing?
Well, can you point to me where God existing is
Okay,
required for
do
reality
you
to exist?
realize? Okay, see, notice again the constant resort to
Yeah,
deception,
he's
Tonlock,
shifting the burden of proof. He's
by
not
asking
actually
me a
defending his
question.
claim.
You see, this is what I told Tonlock. Okay, and I appreciate you coming up to the stage. Okay, but what you are doing is you are engaging in deceit and deception and mental gymnastics in order to come to the admittance that your position is completely bankrupt, even on its own terms. Okay, so asking
Honestly,
me
there may
Li-
be
li-
mental gymnastics here, but I am
no,
trying to be honest.
listen. No, you're not. You are not. In my biased opinion, you're not. You're not being honest at all. Okay. Now, all you have simply done when I've asked you to justify how it is that one or more facts, okay, exist with metaphysical independence from God. In other words, that they don't necessitate ultimately deriving and depending upon God. You just simply restate the same claim in different words. That's all you've done so far. I'll say, how did you determine that all the facts that you're acquainted with exist metaphysically, non-dependently and non-derivationally from God? You say, well, reality exists.
Well, I'm saying reality existing is a fact that doesn't require God,
And how did you determine that?
because reality is here and God isn't clearly a part of reality.
Okay, so no. So are you just simply saying that you're aware of?
Yes.
Okay, so now again we're going back to your original claim. God can only exist if and only if that you have a mental acceptance that he exists.
No.
That's a
Hey, you
non.
are. Hey,
That's
you
a
already.
non. Let me finish, Tom Locke.
Yeah.
That's a complete non sequitur. That a God can only exist. A supreme being and creator God can only exist if and only if you have a positive attitude toward the proposition that God exists. That's your position, which you just stated. Do you realize that?
I disagree that that's my position.
Okay, goodbye. Okay, that's it. Okay. All right,
Can we
I'm
talk
finished.
about the title?
Okay. Yeah.
It's, it's pointless
No. You
talking to
can't.
him.
Can you believe the deceit there? Okay.
Yeah, it's really pointless talking to him. He's not going to ask you a
Yeah.
question.
Maybe he's an illegitimate love child of Jeff Trimble.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
recently blocked Jeff too because he's a troll as well.
Oh, worse than that.
Like I had pinned Jeff against the wall the other day, and he literally avoided answering my question, and then I kicked him out. He just basically said, "I don't care. I'm not going to address what you're saying," and I booed him out. And then he sends me these ridiculous messages talking about I'm afraid of him and I'm a coward. And then I'm like,
Okay.
you know what, man?
Yeah.
You're a troll. And then I immediately
Carnage,
block
come
him.
up. I will explain to you why. Okay. Come on up. No, you come up right now, and I will explain it to you. Okay. Okay. You want to post a comment? Okay. Okay. Hit the road. All right. You're gone. Hit the road, Jack. Okay. Why do I overtalk people? I do it much, if not most of the time. When I do it, it's because I am discerning that in my mind that they are clearly being evasive and deceptive. And after doing this 10 to 12 years, okay, 10 plus years, I've had it with people running the clock out, okay, like Stephen did, okay, right? I'll ask him a question, and I'll say, "What's the rationale that's true?" And he just simply restates the position again, just in slightly different words. Well, God doesn't exist, he says, because there's no evidence for God. Oh, does that mean because nothing can stand in causal relations, or that you're just unaware of it? He says, well, he's unaware of it. Oh, so God can exist if and only exist as a supreme being and creator if you have a positive attitude toward the proposition God exists. I mean, this is the asinine responses that we get. And by the way, we get this same claptrap from atheists who have PhDs. Same thing. Because Because regardless of their academic achievements, right, at the end of the day, they put their pants on one leg at a time or two legs at a time, and they're trying to preserve and protect at all costs their autonomy of reason. So they will just engage in mental gymnastics. And what does Darth Dawkins say? This is what they do.
I mean, he kept saying over and over again, talking about his experiences. He just said that multiple times, which doesn't answer the question. And he admitted it didn't answer the question. And it just goes back to the same crap anyway.